What's up guys? Welcome back to Toon Duelists. Today we give you an update to our X-Saber deck profile. Now I'm super excited to show this one to you guys. Obviously, this archetype received an amazing wave of support in the legendary modern decks, so of course I built this deck new and of course I have to show it to you. I always loved the X-Sabers. I don't know, I have a thing for the classical spellcaster and warriors in this game, and so I clearly love the design of the X-Sabers first of all. But as I'm about to show you, there's so much more to this archetype, but we'll get into that when we look at the analysis. So if you want to skip straight to the deck profile, you can of course do this with the links in the description. But if you want to learn more about the X-Saber archetype, the amazing lore, the artworks, and all there is to know about this archetype, definitely stay with me. We'll go through our 5 categories next. But before you leave, don't forget to like and subscribe. This would really help us a lot. It's one small click for you, but means the world to us, of course. Then if you want to further support us, you can also check out our Instagram and Twitch channel with the links in the description. Would also be amazing. And without further ado, let's dive into the categories. First of all, the X-Sabers actually made an appearance in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc V anime, where they were played by Kid Blade. Honestly, I never watched this anime, so I can't tell you anything more about that. But hey, they made an anime appearance. But what is way more interesting about this archetype, at least for me, is their part in the whole terminal world lore. If you follow this channel for a while, and I know you do, right? Then you know that I just love the terminal world lore. It's in my opinion one of the best stories Yu-Gi-Oh! Has to tell, so again, please Konami, animate the terminal world lore. It's so amazing, you just have to give us a series about this. Obviously the lore is very big, so I can't cover it all, so I'm just gonna focus on the role of the X-Sabers in this lore. We're gonna start where it all started for the X-Sabers, in the first generation. Back then their commander was Zusa, second in command was Gothams, and also Polina and Bruno were part of this first generation of the X-Sabers. Interestingly, as you might have known, all of those cards are brand new. So the new support didn't give us an extension of the lore, but a backstory. At first, the X-Sabers were just a group of mercenaries that were led by Zosa. So they accepted different offers, different missions, and completed them as good as they could. Zusa sadly had the habit of sacrificing teammates to fulfill those missions at its best. So at first, Zusa really felt bad when he had to do this, but as it became more and more of a regular habit of his, this grief he felt vanished. Not only did Zusa really change his look, and I think the, let's call it insane look and merciless look is clearly portrayed in the artwork, but also the other X-Sabers started to shun him. And one day, on one mission, he just vanished. We don't really know what happened. Did Gothams maybe kill him? Did some of the other X-Sabers had enough of all the sacrificing? We can't tell. However it went out, Gothams was now, as second in command, the leader of the X-Sabers. But there is also one interesting detail. It is also mentioned that Polina vanished in a mission and, supposedly at least, went through some kind of portal and was never seen again. And then of course there's X-Saber Invoker. It is written that his fighting style resembled Zusa as well as his habit of sacrificing teammates. So is this some kind of Zusa from the future? We don't know so far, but it's very interesting that this lore still has some questions open for us. Anyways, Gothams then was the leader of the X-Sabers, and this starts the second generation. With Gothams as their leader, of course, Urbellum as second in command, also Piranha, Pashul, Airbellum, Wayne, Urus, Palomaro, Axel, and Galahad were part of this group. And here you might have seen me counting. Yes, it's 10. And the Roman number for 10 is X. You guessed it. So what Gothams did with this second generation of X-Sabers is actually amazing. From a small group of mercenaries, he established the X-Sabers to a real force of the terminal world. He formed an elite squadron of swordsmen that really conquered their own territory and ruled over it. And every one of the members of the X-Sabers had their own men under them. Everything was fine. Well, fine. Of course, there was a war between Ice Barriers, Flamwells, the people of the Mist Valley, and the X-Sabers. They just fought for the supreme reign in the world of Terminal World. But soon, the worm invasion came. At first, each of the fractions, also the X-Sabers, fought against the worms alone, but soon it was clear that each of those fractions alone had no chance against this alien invasion. So all of those four formed an alliance, which we know as Ally of Justice. The Ally of Justice were weapons which all of the four members forged together to fight off the worms. And this then brings us to the third generation of X-Sabers. You see, the X-Sabers were fighting against the worms, and with the Ally of Justice it was easier, but still a lot of the original second generation members were hurt, or maybe even more, and so he had to form the new generation of the X-Sabers. Leader was of course double X-Saber Gothams still. Then we have Yunlei as his second in command, also Full Hell Knight, Fall Troll, Guard Strike, Garson, Regigura, Boggart Knight, Amos Blade and Dark Soul were members of this new generation of X-Sabers. And again, 10 new members, and with the old 10 new members this makes 20. And what's 20 in Roman scripture? Right, double X. What's interesting about the new generation of the X-Sabers is that most of them were siblings or children of the original members. Now, the next few are just my guesses, but I think there's a clear resemblance between Piranha and Full Hell Knight, for example. Also, Palomura and Regigura, as the only reptiles in the X-Sabers, might be relatives. Maybe Garson and Urbellum? I mean, both have horns, but I'm not really sure about that. Then, in my opinion, Guardstrike and Urbellum could also be father and son siblings. Also, Fortron and Pashul have big resemblances, at least in my opinion. Both advanced their bodies with technical features, even though we're not sure if this was a decision of their own or if they had to replace some body parts. Yunlei is still a mystery for me. Maybe it's Urbellum, I can't tell you. Because we know for sure that the only three real brand new members were Emmersblade, Boggart Knight and Dark Soul. After his experience with the Ally of Justice, Gothams now also improved his cooperative tactics among the XX Sabers, which can also be seen with the red capes. You might have seen that only the first and second in command in the first and second generation wore those red capes. Now all of them have them. The influence of the Ally of Justice can also be seen in the weapons and armor of this new generation of X-Sabers. They're all technically advanced by now. So eventually this third generation of X-Sabers was able to fight off the worms, of course together with the Allies of Justice. So a happy end, right? Not quite. Because shortly after, the Fabled rose from the depths and they had the next big fight on their hands. Actually, that's where the story of the X-Sabers at least really stops. We don't really know what happened to them after the Fables rose. We know they fought them, but nothing else is for sure. Sadly, we have to assume the XX Sabers didn't have a happy end because we can see Gishki Evans collected all of the weapons of the original XX Sabers. He then also used them as Sephra Saber, Swordmaster of the Necros. And if you look at the artwork, you can see actually every weapon of the 10 XX Sabers right here. So, seems like the X-Sabers didn't have a happy end, right? But keep in mind, there's still MX Invoker. Maybe they just slipped through a portal and left the weapons? Will we see a futuristic fourth generation of X-Sabers in the future? Maybe all in the style of Invoker? I actually don't think so, to be honest, but it would be so cool. So, in conclusion, I just gave you a really short rip-off of the story. Of course, the lore is way deeper than I can explain now, but we have a very rich story of a loose group of mercenaries that rose to power and became one of the biggest ruling fractions in the whole world of Terminus. A group that accepted anyone who could wield a blade. It doesn't matter where you're from or what you are, the X-Sabers were the place for you if you were able to wield some kind of sword. They also joined forces with the others to fight off the big enemies of the terminal world. So in my opinion, an amazing story, probably one of the best. Next up, let's talk about the artworks. Well, obviously, the X-Sabers are a group of warriors or anthropomorphic animals. We have lions, gazelles, leopards, even insects and reptiles. So we already have a big variety of different fighters which were joined in the X-Sabers. Also, their armors just really mirrors this perfectly. While all of them wear some kind of armor, we have so many different styles. We have light armor, heavy armor, Some are really full armored, some only wear different parts of armor. And some, as I already mentioned, even technically advance their own bodies instead of wearing armor. Also, the red capes are just a little hint that I love about the designs of those monsters right here. And in my opinion at least, this is not for sure, this also shows the reconstruction of the X-Sabers in the 3rd generation. Not only 1 or 2 leaders, but all of them equal on one level. The weapon of choice? Obviously always some kind of sword, but the swords they wield are as different as what they are and the armor they wear. We have many different daggers controlled by psychic power. We have whip-like swords. We have Wolverine claws, gun-like swords, rapiers, also a scythe. So all this diversity right here really mirrors what's the core about the X-Sabers. All of them are so different, but they joined forces together to build this amazing army right here. Also, another part I just love about this artworks is how everyone wears some kind of X or double X later on in their armor. You can see it on the side, you can see it on a cape, on the weapon, but every one of them has it somewhere. Go check it out. Of course, I already talked about the technical advancements they make, which is obviously a clear split, especially between the 2nd and the 3rd generation, and can be seen clearly right here. Even if they differ so much from each other, it is always clear that they somehow belong together. I think the diversity of armor, different swords, and of course the members themselves make those artworks so interesting. Then of course it also portrays the story perfectly, especially the shift between the 2nd and the 3rd generation, and they have one thing in common. At least in my opinion, they all look badass. Next up, let's talk about the playstyle. Well, the hand ripping was the unique selling point of this deck. But to be honest, in my old build, if you watched my old video, you could see how much setup it actually took to get this hand rip off, so it rarely really worked. But sadly, it was the best they could do. But with the new support, a lot of this really changes now. We now have way more searches, we have quick synchro summoning, and also effects that are more battle focused. So it is of course still a synchro based deck. It is also of course still possible to rip off the hand rips. If you want to know how, definitely check out the test hand and combo video. But of course a lot of things change now. A lot of the X-Saber cards are really old, which means hard ones per turns weren't as common back in the day. And the great thing I love about the new support is that they kept it this way, at least with some, for example Bruno. And obviously guys, you know in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! You can abuse this heavily. The fact that all of the X-Sabers are Earth monsters also enables the plays of Naturia Beast, one of the best synchro monsters out there if you ask me, and technically also some Lux, for example with Goes and Match. Of course Bruno also enables the play of Emergency Teleport and is a bridge into the Psychic archetype, which you can also now play in this deck. Plus, Bruno gives you quick synchro summoning, which is just amazing for interruptions and more interactive play, which the X-Sabers didn't used to have back in the day. In general, the X-Sabers don't really lock you into anything, so you can play this with basically any engine you want. But is it a synchro spam deck? Not really in my opinion. It summons a lot of synchros now with the new extenders, searches, all of that. It's fine, but in modern standards, it's nowhere near spamming. So in conclusion, we have an Earth-based battle-focused synchro deck that offers a lot of different plays. We have negates, we have a lot of interruptions. Obviously, we have a lot of brute power. So it's a very flexible deck with a lot of different aspects that can really surprise the opponent. And of course, because of that, is also fun to play. Next up, let's talk about the power level of this deck. Now, I already praised the new support and how good it is for this archetype, but you just have to be clear about this. You don't really get a new amazing boss monster. You get amazing combo pieces, yes, but it's nothing too crazy. It rather brings the X-Sabers up to modern standards. The support is amazing for this deck, don't get me wrong, but things like quick synchro summoning or extending or finally searching properly is pretty basic for modern day Yu-Gi-Oh! Then I already mentioned that it's very balanced. You can play negates, you can play OTKs, you can also play a lot of interruptions. But this also means that they don't do anything of this exceptionally well, sadly. Don't get me wrong, you can build amazing boards with this, but a more straightforward strategy, in my opinion at least, would have been better for this deck. Also, sadly, it is stopped quite easy. you can't really play around more than 2 hand traps or interruptions. With some hands, maybe, but in general, you will be stopped in your combo very easy. The new support is amazing and it makes this deck a whole lot better. It's no longer the bottom of all fun decks as it really used to be, but is it a meta contender? Definitely not. Still, some boards are really amazing and the X-Sabers have potential. Maybe with some new cards, maybe with archetype specific support. We can't tell by now. So in conclusion, it's hard to say. I'd personally say it's somewhere in between a good fun deck or a bad rogue deck. Sadly, it's really nothing more, as much as I would love to tell you otherwise. And finally, let's talk about the price. And once again, guys, it's crazy what I tell you in this section the last few deck profiles. Because this decor can be purchased for around $7, just like Furhighs. And with decor, I mean 41 cards, 14 extra deck monsters, and 27 main deck cards. The most expensive are Uraishin for about $3 or Silvera for around $1, maybe $2. As always, I excluded non-engine. I also didn't include SP, even though with the reprint in the modern legendary decks, it's probably also very cheap. So in conclusion, guys, a whole deck for $7, this is amazing. But you have to say, you have to mention it, you get better decks for the same price. Furhighs, for example. But if you're a fan of the Terminal Wordler or of X-Sabers in general, it's just amazing to see how cheap this deck is and that you don't have to spend all your money to just have fun with this deck. So yeah guys, that's it for the 5 categories, and I'd say, without further ado, let's dive into the deck profile. Alright guys, as the loyal subscribers you all of course are, you know we always start with the monsters, and the first one we talk about is X-Saber Pelina. Sadly, this card didn't come in time. I hate it when that happens. But anyway, this card has the effect that if this card is normal or special summoned, you can send it to the graveyard as cost to special summon 2 X-Saber monsters from your deck except itself, but destroy them during the end phase. This is really amazing. This card is the best starter you have because of this effect. The fact that it's sent to the graveyard for cost is also great because it makes it imperm or Veiler proof. And just special summoning out, this is basically the better rescue cat for this deck. Even the destroy effect can be useful. We're gonna talk about that when we go further in the monsters. Also, if this card is sent to the graveyard as synchro material for an X-Saber monster, you can apply one of these effects. Either that monster can make a second attack during each battle phase, or that monster can attack directly. So this one shows the battle focus I mentioned. As I said, it is the best starter right here, so a definite 3 of. Next up, we also run 3 copies of the brand new X-Saber Bruno. A level 3 psychic tuner, you know what that means. Italy! This one has the effect that once per turn during your opponent's main or battle phase, you can, quick effect, immediately after this effect resolves, synchro summon using only earth monsters you control, including this card. So it gives you quick synchro summoning, which is just amazing. And the amazing part is, guys, this is a soft once per turn. Yes, you can do this with multiple copies, multiple times per turn, which is just insanely good. The other effects are hard once per turns, because if this card is in your hand, you can banish another earth monster from your hand, face of field or graveyard and special summon it. And if this card is normal or special summoned, you can add a Saber spell or trap from a deck or graveyard to your hand. So it is a searcher, easy special summonable, and quick synchro. You just have to play 3 copies of this card. It is just amazing. That's already it for the brand new X-Sabers, but we of course have some classics here. For example, X-Saber Fall Troll. An amazing card, used to be the best card and still is very, very good, because this one has the effect that it can't be normal summoned or set and must be special summoned from your hand by controlling 2 or more X-Saber monsters. And once per turn you can target a level 4 or lower X-Saber monster in your graveyard and special summon it. So still a soft once per turn, which is just amazing, also for the hand loop of course. And this is a definite 3 of. This card is an amazing extender, you have to run 3 of this. It is actually the last 3 of, but we have some 1-offs for you. For example, 1 copy of X-Saber Ragigura. Also just an amazing card with the effect that if this card is normal or special summoned, you can target an X-Saber monster in your graveyard and add it to your hand. You know those 2 make a great loop right here, so obviously you have to run Ragigura, but 1 copy is enough, you can special summon it straight from your deck. Next up, we also run 1 copy of X-Saber Dark Soul. Amazing card right here again, with the effect that once per turn during the end phase, if this card is in your graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you can add an X-Saber monster from your deck to your hand. You need some level 3s from your combo. The end phase effect is especially great for quick synchro summoning during your opponent's turn with Bruno, so you can set up your hand for your next turn. Amazing, but again you want to search it out, so 1 is enough. And the final 2 are 1 copy of X-Saber Boggart Knight. This one is also amazing. It can't be used as synchro material except for the synchro summon of an X-Saber monster, and when this card is normal summoned, you can special summon a level 4 or lower X-Saber monster from your hand. Well, if you have it in your hand, you can do some crazy stuff with this, but we only run 1 because we basically just need some level 4s for our synchro summons, and the final X-Saber monster we run is 1 copy of X-Saber Garson. This one gains 200 attack for each X-Saber monster you control, and if this card on the field is destroyed by card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can add an X-Saber monster from your deck to your hand. Now it is again a level 4, which we need for our synchro summons, and if it is shot, for example, by the effect of Perlina, you can actually add another X-Saber monster, which is just an amazing effect. We also have other cards that shoot this in the end phase, so yeah, great card right here. And guys, that's it for the monsters. For the spells, we start off with the brand new Saber combination. Amazing card right here we got in the legendary modern decks, with the effect that while 10 or more X-Saber monsters are in your field, graveyard and or banishment, your X-Saber monsters you control gain attack equal to the original defense. Again, 10 members. If you watched the categories, you know why it's 10. Of course, this is a great boost in the grind game, but it gets even better, because if you special summon an X-Saber monster from the extra deck, you can special summon an X-Saber monster from your hand or deck. So an amazing extender, but it gets even better, because when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can special summon an X-Saber monster from your hand. With all the searching we can do now, this last effect is actually also not to underestimate, but of course, we want the extending. The second effect is amazing, but we can search this one out, so 1 is definitely enough. Next up, we also run 1 copy of Gotham's Second Call. Also just an amazing card, with the effect that if you control an X-Saber synchro monster, you can target 2 X-Saber monsters in your graveyard and special summon both targets, ignoring their summoning conditions, but change their attack to 0 and also destroy them during the end phase of this turn. You can only activate 1 Gotham's Second Call per turn, and you cannot conduct your battle phase the turn you activated this card. The last effect is actually the reason we only run 1. This is only good in your first turn. You don't want to use a second copy. I see some profiles running 2. I definitely would not recommend it, because it is dead after your first turn, basically, because you want to have your battle phase in this deck for sure. Outside of that, it's an amazing extender, obviously. Just bring back 2. Their effects aren't even negated, just their attack to 0, which is amazing. And again, if you bring out Garson, you have to destroy it in the end phase, so Garson's effect can go off. So this is another reason why Garson is great and this card is so amazing. But for the reasons I already mentioned, 1 is definitely enough. Next up, we also run 1 copy of Saber Slash. This card has the effect that you can destroy face-up cards equal to the number of attack position X-Saber monsters you control. So a great board breaker right here. Now searchable, which is the reason we run it at all, and also the reason we only need 1. You have to watch out with this one. You have to destroy exactly as many cards as you have X-Saber monsters in attack position. So if you tribute a monster with some effect, you might have to shoot your own cards. So be careful, but it is a great board breaker, but 1 is definitely enough. With the next card, I can reveal a little side engine we run, because we also run 1 copy of Teleport Fusion. Yes, we run the Psychic engine in here, which is just amazing. I love the Psychic monsters, but it just wasn't enough for me to build a deck on its own, so I'm super happy I can play these cards in this deck now. This quick play spell has the effect that during the main phase you can fusion summon a Psychic fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing Psychic monsters from your field or graveyard as material. Also, if a face-up Psychic monster or monsters you control that was special summoned from the extra deck is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard and then target one of your banished Psychic monsters and special summon it. So, it's a fusion spell, quick play fusion spell of course, and also can bring back one of your banished monsters, which is insanely good. Amazing card, but we want to search it, so 1 is definitely enough. Next up, for some consistency, we obviously want to run 3 copies of Fire Formation Tanky. It lets us add a Beast Warrior monster, that's the important part, and we have some very powerful Beast Warriors we definitely want to see in our hand. Boggart Knight, Polina, of course. So those two are obviously the main targets, and you definitely want as many copies of those in your deck as you can. Because of Bruno, we obviously run 3 copies of Italy. Special summons it straight from the deck. Amazing card, I guess I don't have to explain that. And we also run 2 copies of Small World. I guess you know Small World, I won't explain it. Also, it's very confusing. But basically, the bottom line is all of our monsters in this deck are Earth. We have various different types, so with Small World we can actually search the exact combo piece or starter we need. So Small World is really great in this deck, but 2 is definitely enough in my experience. You have a lot of searches now, so yeah, 2 is in my experience the perfect ratio. And guys, that's it for the spells. For the traps, we start things off with 1 copy of Gotham's Emergency Call. Now I know a lot of deck profiles don't play this one. I still love it because it has the effect that if an X-Saber monster is on the field, target 2 X-Saber monsters in any graveyards and special summon both to your field. With Bruno, this is really interesting because with Bruno in the grave, you bring it back to be able to pull off some quick synchro summoning and have some amazing interruptions. And the final trap we run is 1 copy of Saber Hole. I just love the old artworks. They have something about the style that's just unique. This counter trap has the effect that when a monster or monsters would be summoned while you control an X-Saber monster, negate the summon, and if you do, destroy that monsters. So yeah, amazing card right here. Searchable in this deck. Of course you want to play at least 1 copy of this. No, to be honest, 1 is also enough. And guys, that's it for the engine. For the non-engine, we have pretty basic stuff. We run 3 Fuvalos. Obviously we do. Best hand trap in the game currently. Closely followed by 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. No doubt about this one. Amazing card right here. Then I also run 3 Forbidden Droplet in this. With Droplet, I'm not that sure, honestly. I mean, it is a great board breaker, especially going second. It saved me in many duels. But also, Ghost Spell is a great card. It is also an Earth Tuner, so I'm not really sure about this one. Let me know what you think in the comments, definitely. I'm pretty sure about 3 Infinite Impermanence, though. Pretty amazing card. And what I'm also always sure of is 1 Called by the Grave to be hand trap safe. You know I love this one. So, in total, we can play 13 non-engine in this deck. With some cutting, you could play 15 maybe, but I think for a deck like X-Saber and for the power level we're on right now, this is actually pretty decent. And guys, that's it for the main deck. For the extra deck, we start things off with 2 copies of the brand new X-Saber Gothams. Amazing card. Now we have a Gothams in every generation of X-Sabers. Just amazing. This one has the effect that it needs a tuner and 1 or more Earth monsters. And if this card is synchro summoned, you can add a Saber or Gotham spell or trap from your deck to your hand, which means we can basically search all of our X-Saber spells and traps with this one. Also, when this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can discard a random card from their hand. So we also have some hand ripping right here. And when your X-Saber monster is targeted for an attack while this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card and then change the attack target to this card. So overall, guys, a searcher, a hand rip, a protection. This is just amazing, and I personally love how it ties into the story. If you remember from the categories, which you of course watched, right? It is the fact that Sousa was the merciless one and Gotham's the good one, who stands up and protects the fellow X-Sabers even from the grave. Speaking of the merciless Sousa, we also run 1 copy of the brand new Commander Sousa Sword Master. Also amazing card where Sousa doesn't look as mad as he does in his old artwork. Also needs a tuner and 1 or more Earth monsters and is always treated as an X-Saber card. It gains 200 attack for each banished monster, and when this card destroys a monster by battle, you can draw a card. And once per turn, when your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you contribute an X-Saber monster to destroy a card your opponent controls. And if this card would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish a Saber card from your graveyard instead. So how Sousa is willing to sacrifice X-Sabers for the mission is also clear in this effect. In general, it's a pretty good card. You banish a lot, so the attack raise should not be underestimated, and also, of course, draw power by destroying, then another destroy on basically anything your opponent does, and some protection. Pretty decent card right here. And next up, we run one copy of X-Saber Yunlei. Amazing card right here. And this one has an amazing effect with Bruno now, because it needs a tuner and one of my non-tuner X-Saber monsters, and when it is synchro summoned, you can target up to 3 spells or traps on the field and destroy them. If you rip this off during your opponent's turn, it can be devastating, so you definitely have to run one of this. Then of course we also run one copy of the big bad X-Saber Gothams. I wish I had the ulti of this one, it looks so pretty. Amazing card right here, with the effect that it needs a tuner and one of my earth monsters, and you contribute an X-Saber monster and discard a random card from your opponent's hand. And since we still want to be able to hand rip, of course we play a copy of Gothams, but one is enough. For our little Psychic side engine, we run one copy of Serene Psychic Sorceress. Also an earth monster, which is pretty good, and this one needs just one tuner and one of more non-tuner monsters, and if it is synchro summoned, you can pay 1000 life points to set a teleport, normal or quick play spell from your deck, graveyard or banishment. So you can set up your fusion, you can set an E-tally, amazing right here. Also, if this synchro summon card is sent to the graveyard, you can target a card your opponent controls, or target 2 if you control a psychic monster, fusion or synchro, and return that card to the hand. So also, with the quick fusion summoning that Bruno gives us, this can be some great interruption right here. But the Psychic lineup doesn't stop there, we also run one copy of Psychic Blaster MK2. Amazing card right here. It needs a Psychic tuner and one of my non-tuner Psychic monsters, which is no problem. This is a level 6, this is a level 9, Bruno is a level 3, easy. And this one has the effect that you can target a banished monster and special summon it to your field, which is already great extending during your own turn. Also, during the main phase, quick effect, you can banish a monster from your graveyard to target another face-up monster on the field and banish it, and then you gain life points equal to that banished monster's original attack. So quick banishing during your opponent's turn, amazing interruption, extending during your own one, great card right here. This whole side engine, of course, wants to end on Axon Kicker Oracle. Amazing card right here, with the effect that it needs a psychic monster and one synchro exceeds all linked monsters, so no problem for us. After this card is fusion summoned, it gains 1000 attack for each synchro exceeds and linked monster used as its material until the end of the next turn. So no matter if you do it during your opponent's or during your own turn, you have a beat stick for 2 rounds right here. Also, when your opponent would special summon a monster or monsters, quick effect, you can negate the summon, and if you do, banish that monsters. Just amazing negate right here. And if this fusion summon card is sent to the graveyard, you can banish a teleport, normal or quick play spell from a graveyard to special summon it back. So guys, just an amazing boss monster right here with a summon negate, a big beat stick. This is just amazing. Then for the Naturia side of the deck, we also run one copy of Naturia Barkion. Needs a Earth Tuner and one of my Earth monsters, and has the effect that when a trap card is activated, quick effect, you can banish 2 cards from a graveyard to negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. Now banishing is obviously great, you learned this with Psychic Blaster for example, and also traps shouldn't be underestimated. Radiant Typhoon, Draco Tail, a lot of those decks use them. I wouldn't advise you to play X-Sabers against one of those decks, but anyways, a good trap negate is never a bad idea, and this one is even an endless one, as long as you have cards in the graveyard, of course. This is not the case for our next one, which is Naturia Beast. I guess you know what it does. Endless spell negates right here. Amazing card and one of your best end pieces. Next up, we also run one copy of Silvera, Wolf Tamer of the White Forest. A light monster this time, the first one actually, which has the effect that it needs a tuner and one or more non-tuner monsters, and if it is special summoned, you can change all face-up monsters your opponent controls to face-down defense position. Remember, quick synchro summoning. This is a total board book for your opponent if you bring this out during your opponent's turn. It's just amazing. Also, illusion and spellcaster synchro monsters, including this one, gain 500 attack, and if they attack a defense position monster, you inflict double piercing battle damage. This doesn't matter too much, but the fact that it's also a tuner is also pretty great, and it's just one of the best interruptions we have. For the higher levels, I decided to go with one copy of Ravenous Croco Dragon Archethys. Generic, needs a tuner and one or more non-tuner monsters, and has the effect that it gains 500 attack and defense for each card in your hand. Also, if this card is synchro summoned, you can draw cards equal to the number of non-tuners used for its synchro summon. And as a quick effect, you can discard 2 cards and target 1 card on the field to destroy it. Pretty basic, but a great card in my opinion, and one of your better level 9 choices right here. And for the real big ones, we also run 1 copy of Uraishin, the Cursed Thunder God. Amazing card right here. I got it and I didn't know where to play it. Now I finally know. Amazing card. Also generic and has the effect that each time your opponent activates a card or effect, you gain 300 life points when it resolves. And during your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can pay 1500 life points and tribute this card to then activate one of these effects. You either destroy all face-up monsters your opponent controls, or you destroy all face-up spells and traps your opponent controls. So again, a great interruption during your opponent's turn. Amazing one right here. Speaking of interruption, we of course also run 1 classical Black Rose Dragon. I guess I don't have to explain this one. Board wipe on summon, just amazing. And we run things up with a generic SP Little Knight. Also a common version of the legendary decks, very cheap. My advice, get them while they're cheap. And guys, that's it for the extra deck. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed. If you did, definitely leave a like and a subscription. This would really help us a lot. It's one small click for you, but means the world to us, of course. If you want to further support us, you can also check out our Twitch and our Instagram channel with the links in the description. And as always, guys, don't forget to let me know what you think about this deck profile down in the comments. We always love to read and answer them and stay in touch with our community. As always, guys, if you want the full X-Saber experience, don't forget to check out the combos and test hand video as well as the Nexus-Replays so you really see how this deck performs. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, have a good one.